Okay, I like to dig down and get a deep hole. Almost a post hole look to it. In fact, I use post hole diggers now and then myself. Get it good and deep and good and loose down in there. Then I break along the sides, trying to get as much looseness as I can out of it so that the plants will easily be able to maneuver down in there with their root systems, like so. And of course I take a little bit of fertilizer, not a lot. Then I'll take a tomato. Now these happen to be big boy tomatoes. And you'll take that, loosen up the roots ever so little bit, and I've already soaked them, so they've got a good chunk of water. I'm going to pinch off the two bottom leaves. I'm going to pinch off those two bottom leaves, and then I'm going to set them down like that and push it down in there, like so. And then I'm going to add a little bit more dirt, more than it really needed. Clear up to that first row of leaves, keeping it away from, so it's not touching dirt. If the leaves touch the dirt, if I can get this out of there now, give you an example. If the leaves touch the dirt, that's a good way for bacteria to give you some trouble, and so you try to always do that. You also don't put water directly on the leaves themselves when you're watering. Now if you notice, I've left a very deep impression. That will filter in and become almost level by the end of the year anyway, but that's a great way for the water to go right there, not all around here where all it's going to do is waste it or water the weeds. You want it right where it belongs. So this is how I plant tomatoes. And of course I'll put a little Miracle Grow on that too today when I give it its first watering. Now of course I have had it out, been sunning it every day, so hardening off is almost an unnecessary thing. If you were going to go directly from a greenhouse and going to be planting it, you'd want to put a couple boards or something around it so it doesn't take an awful lot of sun, or perhaps some kind of a screen for a couple of days to harden it off. And of course never forget that if it's going to be bad weather, get some kind of a screen over it, or if it's going to have frost, get a styrofoam over it. One of the nice things about putting it deeper like that, it'd be very easy to throw something over it just to cover it for the night. Even a blanket or some kind of heavy cloth, things like that, for protecting it. Because that is your future. Living in McCook means that you do have some dangers. Rattlesnakes are one of them. Rattlesnakes are not just something out in the country, they can come into town. One of the ways is I have a sale barn just a block away from me. That sale barn has a sale every week for livestock. Country trucks and pickups will come to town to bring the livestock, and a rattlesnake once in a while will crawl up underneath one. They will take a ride into town, drop off a block away, and sometimes they come this way. They'll get over here in the park or in the cemetery, in the parks, but they'll come around this area and might even be in my own yard, which we have found rattlesnakes in our yard. And so the best thing we can do is to be prepared. I had a snake get away from me one time because I kept my hose in the shed. And by the time I went over to get it and got back, he was gone. Never saw him again. And so what I do, I have an old burn barrel. You can't burn in McCook anymore, but I keep a garden hoe. One on this side of the property and one on the other side and one in the front yard. They're sharp enough to kill a snake with ease, and that means no snake's going to get away from me. And in danger, we have a lot of children in the area as well as pets, and not counting my own family. And so this is what we do, and I would advise you to have something ready to go. It's also, we've had a few big dogs come through in our time. Just loose dogs, Rottweilers, and mean dogs. And rest assured, a hoe says stay back to most big dogs, because they would have a hard time taking you with a garden hoe in your hand, I'm here to tell you. This is something to think about as a plan B for a tool, and have it ready and quick access no matter where you are on your property.